Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a simple flat bottom boat, kind of like what you can see up here on the screen at the moment. So if you haven't already watched my video on how to create a pontoon boat, you might like to go back and view that and see some other design principles that I'm sort of going to probably skip over in this video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new design, so I'll just add one in there. And like what we did with the pontoon boat, we're looking to create a two-dimensional cross-section of the boat, and then we use a process called extruding to turn that into a 3D shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the front view. So now I'm looking at the red line there, the x-axis, that's like our print bed. The z-axis gives the depth or the height of the object. So like I always do when we're creating a new sketch or we're creating a new product, we need to create a new sketch. And then we're going to create a two-dimensional representation of what we want to build. You might have just missed that step. I just skipped over it. I just clicked on that square there. So I've told Fusion 360 that I'm working in this plane. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a big rectangle basically. Now remember that the dimensions of the boat are 150 millimeters by 100 millimeters. So I'm just going to stick to those measurements. Of course, you could make it smaller if you wanted to. That's sort of the maximum. How deep you want your boat to be is up to you, but I'm just going to go with a height or depth of 30 mil. So I'm just going to click in that top section, in that top corner there, and then I'm just going to drag out my rectangle. Just going to take it into the middle so that's 100 millimeters. Because what I'm going to do is when I add on the next bit, that's going to make it 150 mil. So the next thing I want to do is I want to create a curved line. Okay, so I use this function up the top here. It's called fit point spline. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to take that out to 150 millimeters from the back of the boat. Okay, and then what I can do with this tool is I can click a few points, and then I'm just going to press enter once I've clicked on my last point. And then I've got a nice curved line. Now these green dots we can use to drag the shape around to create different angles. So you can use those to adjust the pitch of the front of your boat. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to join the rectangle up with that curved part. So now I've got a total length of 150 millimeters. And I've got a two-dimensional representation of what my boat's going to look like. So I've got a cross-section of it. Okay, so now I'm just going to click Finish Sketch because I'm done working in 2 dimensions. I want to create this, I want to turn it into a 3-dimensional object. So I finish my sketch, and then I'm going to go to the home view. So I'm looking at it in 3D. Now I'm using a mouse, which makes it really easy. I'm just using the scrolling wheel to zoom in and out of my object, or of that design space. If I click on the scrolling wheel, that allows me to pan. You can also pan by clicking on that pan option down the bottom if you're using a trackpad. And if you want to orbit, so if you want to like look at it from different angles, you can choose that orbit option down there, or we can use the orientation cube to orbit around or to change viewing angles. Once I'm done with the orbit, like I am now, I'm going to click escape, and then that gives me my pointer back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my window selection. I'm going to highlight the shape that I've created so far, and then I'm going to choose the option of extruding it. Okay, so now I can just drag that over, or I can just type in 100 mil because that's the width of our boat. Just enter, and there you go. You can see straight away I've got a really simple flat bottom boat there. Okay, now you might have noticed in the other design that I had created, it was an empty hull, so I didn't have a top to it. So the way that we do that is if I highlight my object again, and then I go to the create menu and I choose the option to create a, what am I looking for here? Sorry, in the modify option, I'm looking for the shell. So when I click on that, I create a shell and I decide what thickness I want. Now I'm just going to give the shell a thickness of 3 millimeters. Okay, and then I'm just going to click OK. Now it looks like nothing has happened at this point, but what it's done is it's created on the inside of this object, it's basically empty. So I've just got a shell there, okay? There's nothing on the inside of it. So what I'm going to do now is I want to remove some of the top so that I can see inside my boat. So I'm going to click on create a new sketch, and I'm going to click on the top surface. So now I'm looking down on my boat, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a rectangle on top of the boat. I've made my rectangle so it's got a pretty big width of 10 mil. So now if I go to finish sketch, and I'm going to click on that face, and now I'm going to extrude. I'm going to give it a negative extrusion of, as long as it's 5 millimeters will do the trick. I think if it was 3 millimeters that'd do the trick, but I'm just going to go with 5. Sorry, I need to go -5 because I'm going downwards. Okay, and you can see then once I've done that, I can now see inside my boat. Okay, so I've got an empty shell there. So then if you wanted to, you could go ahead and mount your motor in there, or you could set up a place to put your sail, or whatever it is that you're deciding to use as your mode of propulsion. Okay, now if you are using an electric motor, for example, then you'd need at the back of your boat, you would need a hole for the prop shaft to go through. Now, this is something we can always do with a drill later on, but I messed that up. I didn't want to do that. So I'm just going to go back. I don't actually want to use that hole. Sometimes it's easier, I think, with a hole just to use a circle. So I've just clicked to start a new sketch. Just going to create a circle. I'm going to put it around about there, and I might make it like 3 millimeters. Might be enough, maybe 5. 5 might do the trick. Okay, and then you can see now I'm just going to finish that sketch. And if I go back to that view and I want to scroll around so I can see that hole, I'm going to click on that hole, or on that circle, I should say, and then I'm going to extrude it. Click on that again. So I'm just going to go a -3, and that will make sure that that hole goes all the way through. And then that's somewhere that you could put the prop shaft through that hole from your electric motor through to the propeller. And then it's sort of like we did with the pontoon boat. You can then use fillets and chamfers to make the shape a little bit neater. So I'm just going to click on that edge, for example, and I'm going to control and click on that second edge, and then I'm going to choose from my modify option whether I want to fillet or chamfer. Okay, I'm going to show you the fillet first, and I might just make that 3 mil, maybe make it 5. Okay, and then you can see like we've got a nice rounded edge on that side. Okay, just to show you the difference, I'll go over to the other side and I'll do a chamfer. So I've clicked on that and control click on the other edge. Then we'll go for a chamfer. I might try and make that 5 mil as well. Press OK. Okay, and then you can see I've got a nice sort of like 45-degree angle on that side. So you can decide for yourself what type of finish you'd like. You might even just leave it square, and that's fine as well. But there's some other options for you. Hopefully this helps you along a little bit. Now, like I've said with our other designs, if you can add your name somewhere onto your boat, that would make things a little bit easier once we print them off. So you can just do that by clicking on a new sketch, click on that plain face there, and then we can choose the option of text, and I'm just going to click there. Wait, I just want that one. Click in here, and then I can just write my name in there like so. Finish sketch. Now you just need to extrude it. That's extruding the wrong thing, so I'm just going to cancel that. Zoom in, click on my name, and then choose extrude, and I'm just going to extrude at -1 mil. So it just embeds in the bottom of the boat there. That way, once I print it off, it'll be nice and clear as to which design is mine. So if you can do that, that'd be great. And then that's another design that you can play with and play with some different forms of propulsion with. Hopefully you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.